And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2. Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. We got Tim Ekstrom from the Royal Star having a great time. If you didn't catch the first hour, Pete Gray is on his way to Guadalupe Island right now on our great Let's Talk Hookup trip on board the Shogun. Hopefully we'll hear from him next week and talking about all that great fishing that they had when we're live at Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing. But, man, are we having a good one today. We want to hear from you. If you want to be a part of Let's Talk Hookup, join us this morning. If you got a question for Captain Tim, 833-288-0973. That's how you catch us on Let's Talk Hookup this morning. Also, want to remind you a great prize for one lucky caller. That's the Sato Line Winder Kit. It's a super high-tech line winder. Comparable to line winders that go for $2,000 or more, all for under $300, that Sato line winder kit. It's the best value in a high-tech line winder. Get it at the Longfin, Fisherman's Landing Tackle, or other great tackle stores, or better yet, be the lucky guy at the end of the show today, and you got a Sato line winder coming your way. Let's continue with that catch report. We got the surf guru, Gundy Gunderson's on the line. What's up, Gundy?
Hey, gentlemen, what's going on?
Doing great, Gundy. Thanks for hanging with us.
Excellent show, man. Good to hear. Good to hear. Good stuff. But hey, we got a little, we got classic fall conditions here. And the Corvina fit this week. Really good tides, still warm water, lots of sand crabs, and sand crab catcher is the key right now because the crabs are getting scattered. There's lots of small ones, so you can really save some time and make those right-sized baits. The Corvina bite, like I said, was good this week with lots of takes and multiple fish days. The bark perch bite continues to improve as the water temperature slowly comes down. And then the leopard shark bite was outstanding this week with lots of 40-inch fish reported up and down the coast. Hook, line, sinker reported good late season Corvina fishing. 4 fish were checked in yesterday, up to 3 pounds in the shop there. Carpinteria was a hot spot. The perch bites also good with anglers posting limits of fish to 1.5 pounds. Silver Strand, Santa Claus Lane, Oxnard, all good stretches. Wiley's reported several Corvina taken this week. Lugworms, mussel were top bait, with most of the crabs small, and that's something to think about here in the fall, is switch into those exotic baits if you're not getting bit on the sand crabs. Big Fish and Seal Beach reported good Corvina action. Most of the fish ranged from 1 to 2 pounds, with a few kickers in the 3-pound class. Also very good spot fin action, with 2 5-pound class fish reported. Ketchum reported anglers still taking Corvina off the street jetties there in Newport. Lots of crab refusals, so bloodworms and ghost shrimp have been a good bait along this stretch. Good perch bite continues off strands in South Laguna. Sand crabs and grubs have been taking perch to 12 inches. The anglers reported seeing the Corvina in there but didn't catch many. 2 anglers there had 22 perch in South Laguna. That's good fishing. And then finally, Pacific Coast reported the best Corvina action there. Army, Navy Academy, South Carlsbad. You have to work at it, but the guys are still getting bites. More and more perch mixed in. And then another 10-pound short fin rock cod lost at the net there by a float tuber in Carlsbad Lagoon this time. The fish ate an underspin, and he was trying to net it, and it was a little bigger than the net. You know how that goes.
That's a trophy.
Very interesting with those fish swimming around. Something to think about if you're going to fish inshore.
No doubt about it, Gundy. Great fishing going on. I love the fall. Certainly a great time to be at the beach. The crowds go away and the fish come in hot. Gundy, great report. Appreciate it as always. We look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, I'm enjoying the show. Keep it up,
Thanks,
guys.
Gundy. Really appreciate hanging in there with us, too, buddy. Thanks a lot for the report and call, as always. All right. Hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on the phones. Everybody's excited to talk to Tim, so let's jump right back into him and talk to John. John's calling us from Escondido this morning. Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. It's a great show. I'm actually in Louisiana, in New Orleans, listening to you on the app. I did yesterday and again today, so it's awesome.
That's great, John.
question for you is, with the different size fish and everything that's out there, and you talked about earlier that short top shots and just fish the spectras because it's easier for the bait to swim. Can you just like make a bunch of wind-on leaders and go that route so you can change, from 40 to 50 to 60 pound, if you have to, or is there an easier way to just make the connection?
I would say, could you go that route? Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't make a bunch of, loop-to-loop wind-ons and things like that to get yourself started. With that said, if you were talking about, the line size that we've been fishing most of this yellowfin and bluefin on, I just don't know that it's necessary to go that route. If you were setting it up like Tim was talking about, a nice, 10, 15-foot piece of fluorocarbon at the end of your line, there are plenty of very appropriate small line-to-line knots that tied appropriately will just hold just fine. And a wind-on leader is a great slick way to do it, but having a spool of fluorocarbon and ripping off 10 feet and tying it to the end of your spectra and firing it back over is fast and easy, and as long as your connection is tied properly and nice and small, it'll slide right through the guide. So could you? Yes, but if I was fishing 10 or 15 feet of fluoro, I just like to tie it on and call it a day.
And those knots, I know we use either a version of the Bob Sands or the Bob Sands. That thing is as good as any connection. I mean, it doesn't break. It doesn't. I would almost say it's 100% knot. And we've used it on. I've seen a lot of really big ones. We were hesitant for a while. Oh, if you're cow fishing, make sure you do loop to loop or something. But that knot is time tested and proven now. We pull as hard as you can pull. We were talking about the derby fish out there at Guadalupe. I mean, you can't pull any harder, and it doesn't break.
I think we were the same way at the tackle store. We were very cautious when we switched. The old days learning spectra, we always tied a Bimini twist to an Albright special. That was the connection because we knew it never failed. And then, as things get refined and smaller, and you need to start being able to cast knots through your guides and things like that, we're so hesitant because you don't want to hang your hat on a knot. And failure is just flat out not an option. If somebody is paying us to make that connection, we cannot ever allow failure to happen. And it took quite a while before we put our trust into, whatever knot, and we tie that John Collins knot. And same deal, I think any knot that is tied, that is worthy and tied appropriately will be just, that knot doesn't fail, period. Like if I tie that knot, if Brandon ties that knot, if Dale, if any of the guys from our shop, and I look at that thing, I know for sure no matter what you do, something else is going to fail before it's that thing.
Yep.
I like it. Hey, John, appreciate the phone call very much. Thanks a lot for that. Let's jump back into him. We're going to talk to Don. Don's calling us from Woodland Hills this morning. Hey, Don, thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, guys, good morning. Quick comment on the knots, too. Yeah, that RP John Collins knot is so quick. It's so easy to learn, too. I taught 3 guys this week
That's cool.
out on the Pacific Queen how to use it, and they'd never fished before, so they were doing it after just a couple of tries. Hey, my question for both of you is, would you explain or try and help me understand when would be the best time for me to buy a Mexican fishing license for going out on sport boats? Because I'll do day and a half and 3-day trips and an occasional, 6-10-day trip. But in the course of a year, does it make more sense for me to buy my own license from a financial standpoint?
I think so. I mean, you buy one annual permit, and I think they're in the neighborhood of $50 or $48, or I want to say that's what I'm trying to remember the price it's stamped on was like $55 or $60. Anyway, absolutely. If you have your own annual permit, if you buy it January 1st, it's good for the year. The good thing about the annual permits is they're good for a year whenever you buy them from. So, if you're just before your first trip down there, whenever that may be in the year, buy your annual and you've got it in your pocket, you're ready to go. For a guy like you, Don, who I know fishes a lot, and you fish year round, I mean, you'll fish collinet in February and March, and you'll fish tuna up through the fall. That's the beauty of the Mexican license, is it really doesn't matter when you buy it because you're getting a year regardless, and you're always going to have that license. And you do a lot of trips. I mean, I know you do longer ones too, but any trip that's lesser than 3 days,
that fishing license will apply to. And Tim, I really like what you guys do at Fisherman's Landing is that the ticket price, there is no like hidden, catch you with something extra, along the way. That your ticket price on a day and a half already includes that Mexican license. So when you go up to the counter to buy your ticket, if you let the guys know, they'll always ask you. But if you have a Mexican license, money comes off of your ticket price, not the other way around.
Correct.
So yeah, when you have that license, like Don talked about, you go up to the counter and you're going fishing on the Pacific Queen, like you just said. You're just going to pay a lesser ticket price than advertised.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's great. Don, it's a good call, and the beauty of it is they go for the year, and and it should be said for those guys that are lesser aware. Fishing permits as of right now are only available in an electronic online purchase right now. So the Conapesca office in San Diego, which is where all of us purchased our paper permits, is no longer in service right now, and they're working towards a fix in the future, but as of right now, buying a paper license from a dealer like us at the tackle store or other tackle stores around is not an option, but getting the license electronically on their website certainly is, and it's an easy process to do. We always say the best thing is to just do it through SAC's website. SAC is not the one that is selling a license, but they have a very easy, clear, concise, written in very, very easy to follow English. This is how you get a license. This is what you're going to be charged. This is what you do. Now click here, and it'll take you directly to it to buy the permit. So, anyways, Don, I think it's a great call, and I wish you continued success the rest of the year with the license. Appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, let's find out what's going on in the kitchen because we got Yanni from Fisherman'sBelly.com on the line with another great recipe. Good morning, Yanni.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning to all the fishermen out there. What a great show this morning. Listen, I got to tell you something. One of my main goals with my website and my teaching and helping fishermen cook fish is I really want to produce easy fish recipes. And this week, I have got the world's easiest fish recipe. And I'm hoping that a lot of fishermen give it a try. And that is, I am teaching everyone how to fry up sardines.
Nice.
Sweet.
Have you guys ever eaten sardines?
Yes, I have. They're delicious.
I have to admit I haven't, but I'm always willing to try. What do you got for us, Yanni?
Well, here's how it goes. The world loves to eat fish. I mean, 75% of the world's population relies on fish for their nutrients, for their proteins, and sardines is the most commonly eaten fish in the world. So as a kid, as a Greek kid, I grew up eating fried sardines and baked sardines and barbecued sardines. And I know here in Southern California, a lot of fishermen are they look at sardines and they go, that's a bait fish, I'm not going to go anywhere near it. But if you really stop and think about it, all the wonderful fish that we love, halibut, rockfish, yellowtail, they all eat sardines. I'm telling you, when you guys are having a tough day on the water, take a look at that bait tank, grab some sardines, watch my recipe, and learn how to fry up sardines really quick and easy, and you will be in shock. They are delicious.
That's awesome. Right on, Yanni. Well, we'll be excited. And again, where will we find that great recipe as well as the video that shows us everything on how to do it and what to do?
You bet. Fisherman'sBelly.com, or follow us on Facebook, Fisherman'sBelly.com, or go to our YouTube channel. Fisherman's Belly channel. It's all there.
That's awesome. Well, sure appreciate it, Yanni. Great report, and gonna have to dip to the bait tank for the next one. Appreciate it very much, buddy. We'll look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks.
Awesome. You bet. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Yanni. Appreciate that. All right, phones are packed. If you want to get your shot, 833-288-0973, the number to do it. Let's talk to Mike. He's calling us from Rosemead this morning. Hey, Mike, welcome to the show.
Good morning there, Rick and Tim. Hearing Dallas for the first time on the boards, she sounds like a very nice young woman there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And big thanks to Dallas. Adam is out watching the Michigan game, so taking a very well-deserved vacation. And Dallas is doing the phones for us and doing a great job.
Right on, right on. I got well, my question is this. With the new technology, with the reels and the Spectra type of lines, back in the old days when they go fishing for cows, they used to almost get spooled so they'd have a backup rod, and I don't know how much line was actually on the reels back then with straight mono, but nowadays, I guess more of the technology, you can kind of pretty much stop these cows in their tracks. But, I mean, like, it's not an exact question you can answer, but how far do these cows run as far as yards nowadays where you can stop them? Like before, you'd have to have a backup rod, and they'd go several hundred yards maybe. I don't know.
No, great question.
Kind of answer that question.
We're talking about big yellowfin tuna here.
I think so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Cows. Everyone is different, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, we've had ones you put the hook in, and they never even run. They go straight down, or they. I think the ones that really, when we would get in trouble in the past, number one, your bait gets bit, and you're already 150 yards out there waiting.
Starting a long ways down.
Exactly. So your line capacity in the old days, you were down a third by the time you ever hooked the thing. Maybe a 200-yard run or a 300-yard run, which that's a long way for the thing really to take off. It's pretty rare nowadays with a Spectra backing, especially on the bigger reels. I would say the only thing that gets us into trouble now is that we've done so much sardine fishing for those bigger tuna on smaller reels.
Right.
Even a Talica 20 or a 25, but
totally.
a Talica 20. I've seen a bunch of 200-pounders caught on Talica 20s, which is just, it's a phenomenal reel to sardine fish with. But still, the line capacity on one of those things, if you have 100-pound Spectra wound on that, what's your line capacity?
600 yards.
Exactly.
You
got a ton
500 yards. I mean, it's a ton of line.
Exactly. So we really don't get spooled very often. I can count the number of times on one hand that we've thrown a rod over on a backup now in the last 3 or 4 years. It's pretty rare, which is a good thing because as exciting as it is, to watch your $700 outfit go over the side and go off into the deep. The
buoy's gone,
Yeah, exactly. As exciting as it is, the reel. It absolutely has to be completely disassembled and gone through after the fact. It does. You can fish with it the rest of the trip, but the drags are wasted, and
it's out of commission.
It's out of commission. Yeah, exactly.
Unless you got lucky enough to be on a trip where Cal is like a passenger and he can whip it out for you, that thing's pretty much toast.
Right.
I love it.
I used to tell that story all the time. We were on a trip that I ran on Royal Polaris back in the early '90s, where we had all those big fish. We had 7 fish over 300 pounds and a bunch of 200-pounders, and had countless opportunities at more, but Cal was on that trip, and every night...
I bet he was.
He was there every single night. We were throwing over 5, 6, 8 rods a day.
Oh, my God.
We didn't have Spectra back then.
Yeah, and in those days, you're putting 300 yards a line. That's what one of those things holds, a 100-pound mono.
Yeah, and we were fishing 130 back then. 100. But anyway... no backup. Cal was so fantastic. I'll never forget. It was like his mission every night. Yeah, he would tell him, okay, don't touch that reel until and he'd have him lined up every night. He'd be up till midnight, 1 a.m, every screw, just meticulously going through, cleaning the drag. The guys had the drags in the oven, and I'd dry them out.
That's great.
It was great.
That's cool. It's so funny seeing the evolution. Cal's business back in the day was pulling apart reels and machining them and adding low gears and doing all these things. Now, he said he is so busy. He's busier than he ever was tweaking and changing, getting the most out of a reel. There's more potential in those reels, just like a high performance engine. There's more that's available that just doesn't come stock, that with his tweaking and his changing, you can make that reel free spool better. You can get a little more drag. You can get more drag range at a higher pressure.
That's it.
Yeah, it's just
that's what
still
he does.
the man,
He's
no
the
doubt.
master. He gets a better performance out of anything you bring to him. I love how innovative. He's just got that in-ear machinist mind out. I can make this better.
That's so cool.
Even if it's 1%, he can make it better, and he does.
That's cool. Yeah, he's the man, no doubt. Hey, Mike, appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on the water. It's time for our FishDope.com report with the man, Dave Hansen, your saltwater guide. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, Tim, Rick. Good morning, guys. Unbelievable week of fishing again. This is just insane, and like Tim was saying, who cares about albacore? Really. I mean, my goodness. I was down there in your neck of the woods a couple days this week, Rick, and it was pretty much, you could pick what you want. You want to go catch some bluefin? Let's just go a little bit farther out. You want to finish it off with some yellowfin? Let's just slide a little bit farther in. Like, really? And then
pick and choose the direction you want to go right now.
I called it, back in the old days, it's supermarket fishing. It's like going to the supermarket. We can catch a few skipjack, yellowfin. We'll get the bluefin out here. If you want to go try deep drop for a swordfish over here, a marlin, you get those too. Or, swing by the island, either the Corn Islands, or try for a few mossbacks, a few calico bass, a barracuda or San Clemente. It's like going to the supermarket.
Picking and choosing.
Yeah, what do you want to catch today?
Oh, exactly. It's insane, Tim. It's absolutely insane. And what is this? It's the end of October.
I love it.
You guys were saying a few minutes ago. It doesn't even look like it's going to end. There's like so much fish and so much bitchin' water and so much bait. I can't imagine why any of these fish would ever leave. And then look what just happened. Yesterday I saw a couple of the sport boats went out there and looked at it. Billy was out there. That big fish is back. It did a big circle somewhere, got lost for a couple of days, and now it's back, and it's back at same place as it was at Clemente. The only thing we're going to be up against right now is that it's going to get dark a little bit earlier here. It's going to get light in the morning a little bit later. So our little window of finding that monster bluefin out there is going to shrink down a little bit. But, hey, you know what? It's okay because there's those yellowfin and bluefin right on the beach to fill in. And that bluefin was all over the coast. If you went out deeper than 900 feet of water, you missed it. It was from San Onofre to the Horseshoe, from 300 to 900 feet of water in the middle of the week this week. And Jimmy Decker and a bunch of his buddies went out there and capitalized on that fish. And that fish they saw plenty of 100-pound fish, but there was lots of that 50, 60-pound fish that were biting the mackerel. And then the lobster fishing, everything is just happening, guys. If you are waiting for something to happen to go fishing, I don't think you need to wait any longer. It's time to get out there. Go catch some fall-time tuna, bass, barracuda, yellowtail, bonita, giant bluefin. It doesn't matter. It's supermarket fishing. Go get them.
No doubt about that. Well, you mentioned lobster, and we are very proud and excited to have you doing a seminar for us at Tackle Day next Saturday at Fisherman's Landing. Dave's going to be giving a hoop netting kind of pro-mar seminar on how to, all things lobster, how to find them, how to hoop them, how to appropriately style your gear, the types of hoop nets to use. And, Dave, we're really excited and proud to have you teach us all a little bit extra on how to get those bugs this year.
I will do my best to try to stay on track, but you know me, man. I'll probably be jumping all over the place. But I'll do my best. I'll have a whole bunch of free stuff to give away, too, which is the best part of my seminars.
We like the wander, buddy. Dave, appreciate it very much. If somebody wants to keep in touch with all the videos, the how-to, all the information on your website, how do we do that?
Well, guys, check out the Legend series I got going on. I just interviewed a couple of guys, 92-year-old men that have been in this industry their whole lives, and they've got some phenomenal stories. My father's on there. I'm going to be interviewing Frank Lopresti in a couple weeks here. Tim Ekstrom even told me that he would even go on there for me. So you guys have to go check it out. And if you want to learn how to fish, I cover every single aspect of fishing in Southern California. YourSaltwaterGuide.com. Check me out, and I'll talk to you guys down in San Diego next Saturday.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Come on down early in the morning. Pete and I, it's always a very fun radio show. We'll be broadcasting live at Tackle Day, same time, 7 to 9, right in the parking lot of Fisherman's Landing. And we always do it on purpose. We don't book any guest for the show that day because everybody in the saltwater industry is there. Every manufacturer that you would want to hear from is there. Guys like Dave will be there, and so we just pull and grab guys that are setting up their booth or Dave getting ready for a seminar, and we just pull everybody on the air, and it'll just be a smorgasbord of all the fun people that are around, and it's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to seeing you, and we're looking forward to talking to you next week, Dave.
All right, guys, I'll see you next Saturday. Have a great show. Bye.
All right, appreciate it very much. All right, let's jump right back into the phones. Daniel from Rancho Cucamonga's on the line. What's up, Daniel?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
I have a question. Hey, if I'm going to put top shot of fluorocarbon, is it better to be a small piece or the whole 25 yards on there?
I like the smaller piece myself. 10, 15 feet. I don't think you need more than that. Maybe a little more because you want to, if you don't want to tie the knot as many times, cut off the end after you catch a fish. But I really favor that 10, 15 feet, no more than that.
Keeps the cost down too. You fish that way. A spool of fluorocarbon, lasts you half the season. You get 25 yards out of it, and you're using 3-4 yards at a time, and you get some good longevity out of it that way too.
Yep.
Daniel, that answer your question for you?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup, including a big block of your phone calls. You stay tuned. More info coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup Radio Network.
Have you always wanted a boat but don't want all the hassles? Then you need to join Freedom Boat Club, where you get hassle-free boating. Freedom Boat Club buys the boats, you enjoy them, and they do the rest. Freedom Boat Club takes care of the slip fee, maintenance, insurance, and cleaning. You have access to a fleet of great fishing and family boats ready to go in the water at Mission Bay, San Diego Bay, and 190-plus locations across the world. For more information, check freedomboatclub.com or visit them at Dana Landing and Caprio Isle Marina.
Get ready for the largest event in our history. Saturday, November 2nd, it's Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Hi, this is Doug Kern, and we will have great savings from Daiwa on Lexa, Saltist, and Saltiga reels. Fantastic offers on the Proteus Wind Grip Rod, too. Plus, Daiwa will offer a free gift with purchase. Over 20 manufacturers reps, including Daiwa, plenty of seminars by saltwater experts, huge raffle, and most of all, incredible deals on tackle. Up to 80% off. Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing, Saturday, November 2nd.
G'day folks, Damon Olsen from Nomad Tackle. We're the tackle company from down under, making lures that catch fish everywhere. We've got an incredible range of gear that's catching a heap of fish in California right now. You'll hear us say crafted by experience a lot. It's because I've spent 20 years running Australia's biggest offshore charter operation on the Great Barrier Reef, and it's that hard-won knowledge that's gone into designing an amazing range of lures and tackle that are up to the toughest challenge. I design everything we make to catch more fish and work perfectly straight out of the box. I designed the patented auto-tune system on the DTX minnow to ensure that the lures track straight, swim super fast and deep all the time. The DTX 200 dives to over 40 feet at 12 knots, and it's already proven itself as the must-have Wahoo trolling lure with the long-range fleet. Our Buffalo flashball jigs are catching monster tuna and come rigged and ready with serious hooks. We've got everything you need for tuna, yellowtail, wahoo, and any other species you can dream of. So check us out now at nomadtackle.com and find your nearest dealer in Southern California right now.
When you put on a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses, the world begins to look different. Colors are more vivid. Contrast is clearer. Details are crisper. Wherever your vision leads you, beauty follows. With polarized lenses that eliminate glare and enhance color, Maui Jim sunglasses won't change the world. They'll change the way you see it. Color, clarity, detail. Maui Jim.
I can't wait to spend some quality time with my son fishing this year, teaching him about casting, how to choose bait, set the hook, and how to be safe on the water by always wearing a life jacket. Save the ones you love. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Lobster season is here. It's time to gear up with the best in the business. Promar, based in SoCal. Promar knows lobster and makes everything you need to catch these tasty critters. The Promar guys are hardcore lobster fishermen and have all the styles of hoop nets, including the new Ambush XL Heavy 14-pound, 36-inch rigid hoop net, the largest allowed by law. Visit Promar on Facebook or on the web at promarnets.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Hey, having a great time here. Lots of great info going on. And, Ben, I want to remind you, too, we talked about it. We've tried to talk about it a lot, but it always is worth mentioning. When you call the show, especially with a guest like Tim, where we're very busy on the phone, the phone lines are slightly different here, and that when you call and all the lines are full, you do not get a busy tone. So right now, every line is full at 833-288-0973. So that's not Dallas ignoring your phone call if it just rings. Basically how it works is your phone call goes into a queue, and then when a line opens up, it gets shot right into there. So you don't get the traditional busy tone. So if it's just ringing and ringing, just keep hanging in there, and as soon as one opens up, Dallas will grab your call and punch you right into the line. But the phones are packed. Everybody's excited to talk to Tim, and, we're going to do just that. Why don't we jump right back into the phones and talk to Tom. Tom's calling us from Temecula this morning. Tom, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Morning, Rick. Morning, Tim.
Morning.
Okay, I got a bluefin question for you guys. After I went out on a trip earlier the month, and after we got through with catching our yellowfin there, we went out looking for a bluefin. Metered a bunch of schools, and typically, they were all sonar schools. So they're 120 feet deep, 200 feet deep, and naturally, the guys with live bait, typically they don't get down there that deep unless they're using a sinker rig. And there's a few guys doing that. And then finally one guy hung one on a flat fall, and then the next batch of fish we stopped on, 25 flatball jigs fell over the side, and finally, I think we hung one more fish that way. I'm trying to think a little bit out of the box, and when everybody's doing one thing and it's not working, it's time to try something different. I know fish are action, that's why we're using rubber flying fish to catch bluefin tuna, with a kite and everything. What's your thoughts on using a rubber squid? Because squid is a preferred bait for those bluefin. And I'll take your question.
Try it. Try it is what I would say. Try anything and everything. I know that when we drift along with those bluefin, and it's the most maddening thing in the world as a fisherman, both the guy standing at the rail as well as the guy up there looking at the fathom meter and the sonar and seeing 1,000 tons of fish under the boat and you can't catch one to save your life. We rig up with everything. When we're drifting along, there's all that fish around and we're hitting schools and they're not biting. We make sure that every time we got a few sinker fishermen, we have fly line fishermen, we've got the flat falls going, the snipers, fishing different depths, different line sizes. You just have to try it all. Sure. And because one thing works doesn't mean that that's the thing that becomes the go-to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just that particular fish, right? It elicited a reaction strike or whatever. I mean, there are trends you find. Maybe it is a day where they're on the flat falls. Maybe, speaking of that, how odd is that last year it was flat fall?
Only way to catch one.
Oh yeah, I mean you find those schools in the dark and drift. I mean, flat fall them up. And this year, not so much, man. I mean, those flats, we've got a few of them.
Sure, pick them off here or there.
But whereas last year it was those flat falls accounted for, 50% or more of what we were catching.
At least.
And this year, you get one every once in a while, you get a few.
It's worth having and it's worth bringing, but you could set your watch to it. If there was a catch on big tuna last year, like you say, at least half of them were caught on the flat fall. Yeah. And at least half of them in the dark.
Yeah. It's just as damnedest thing. But it goes back to what we were saying. You just have to try everything. And I completely agree with our callers. With Tom's, his observation that you don't want to be doing the same thing everybody else is, for sure. I've seen that a lot where we get into a trend or whatever, everybody's fishing one way, and the first guy that tries something different, bam, he'll get that one.
That's a good call.
You know what I'm saying? So as a fisherman at the rail, as an angler, hey, you gotta be thinking that way. Look around you and look at what everybody's doing, and if we're not hooking them, try something different, or just try something different because. Going back to that squid thing, I've seen those. We fished them, the rubber squid, down deep, and we've seen a few fish caught on them. Sure. We have. Is it the go-to every time? No, but is it something else you can add to your arsenal? Hell yeah, do it.
You get a bite on something, it was worth it. If it didn't happen, well, hey, you know what? Neither, they weren't biting for the other 20 guys, so it's not going to hurt you.
I had a lesson taught to me, and I want to say I was 16 on the Pacific Queen, little snot nose, smart ass.
Knows everything there is to know about everything.
The guy had that. I mean, it was the ugliest troll you've ever seen in your life, and they were the albacore were biting, the zucchini or the Mexican flag or whatever. Well, that's what we were fishing and trolling. The guy came up with the ugliest, lamest looking, like pineapple yellow, rigged with a leader, of course.
Of course,
it was like a 400-pound leader, just the ugliest, stupidest
thing
I've ever
seen.
No way it's getting a bite. Yeah, he's like, hey, what do you think about this? Decky, you think this will work? And had the plaid shirt with the suspenders, the whole thing.
Fly fishing vest with the wool patch.
Yeah, whatever. That thing isn't gonna work. That thing's hideous. Don't even put that thing in the water. I knew it all, of course. And sure enough, he put it out there, and the rest.
Yeah,
sure enough,
that's how it works.
Yeah, hook up. He was on, and it wasn't even in the water 30 seconds, man. He was like setting the distance.
Yeah, that's great.
So I learned a very valuable lesson then. Where I don't think I've ever told somebody, no, don't try that.
Never again.
Hell yeah, give it a try. It might work.
Yeah, worst case scenario is it doesn't. That's perfectly fine.
That's exactly right.
That's pretty cool. I wanted to get back to talking a little bit about Guadalupe. You guys have had such an amazing season. We talked about that big yellowtail that you guys got to focus on at the north end. There's exciting time. This time of year is when things start to at least in years past, we see a nicer grade of fish and some big fish come through, and the sharks start to dissipate a little bit. And I know that times, the boat gets full. I'm looking at the Royal Star schedule. There's a lot of trips that have little to no space, but there is one spot open still on that one trip that still has a few spots open, that Rice Bowl trip in December. Prime time, big yellowfin, lesser shark Guadalupe style trip.
Absolutely. Yeah, those trips in December in the last 3-4 years have been phenomenal. Last year, oh my gosh, the last 2 years in December have just been amazing fishing. Incredible. Last year was the one that took the cake. It's almost like the fish took a little bit of a break, mid-November. They were there, but they weren't around the island. And come December, all that fish schooled up again. I mean, there was just massive schools along the edge that moved out into deep water. Zero shark predation. Zero. None.
That's huge.
They were gone. And that has been the pattern over the last 3-4 years. Actually, those sharks out there have not been a problem for the last 3-4 weeks.
Oh, that's
great.
great.
They get one here, then one there, no big deal. But they really backed off in like the middle of September, towards the end of September. They just, whatever. They took leave or they stopped eating the fish, whatever. But we do have quite a bit of room on that trip. And also, I see this mix and match scenario happening. I
dig that.
From the way the setup is now, I would confidently venture that on that trip, weather permitting, I think this bluefin is going to be available. I think we're going to be mixing it up. I think we're going to be targeting yellowtail. There's good fish down on the coast again.
Right, sure.
Good yellows down on the coast. I think that there's real potential for that trip. Those trips at that time of year to mix it up.
Take advantage of that big bluefin that's up here, slide on, and the cool thing about that is you can do so much of your traveling at nighttime, so guy gets up, especially if you fish close, you fish big tuna, you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you're in a new locale fishing something else, you go to again, you're at the island catching big yellows or catching that big tuna, 7 day, well, you said at the beginning of the show, 7 day gives you so much option in range of where you want to go that darn near everywhere is available in a night's travel.
Exactly.
That's cool.
A lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
And I see it happening again. On those trips, the one after Christmas also, there's plenty of openings on it. I know there's a lot of guys that switched over. There's a lot of guys that are running 7 days or they're running Guadalupe-focused trips at that time of year, so it's kind of diluted. And, right before Christmas and all that. But just keep it in mind, anglers, that's a phenomenal time to go. There's a lot of room on that trip. And, it's not going to be over.
Yeah, exactly.
I see there being big potential for it to even ramp up.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I like the way you think. Hey, the phones are packed, Tim. Everybody's excited to talk to you. Let's talk to Mo. Mo's calling us from Vista this morning. Hi, Mo. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, guys. Hey, Tim, when you're using your sonar, what degree and depth do you set it at to track those, the bluefin or even the yellowfin that's maybe a little higher?
Well, these bluefin schools have been so enormous that I've been running the sonar at either 500 or 600 foot, even 800 foot range. The good thing about these sonars, we've got the oh my gosh, I'm going to brain fart on the number. The Furuno
CH500.
Yeah, no, it's the CH250. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you hear those fish, even if you have it on a shorter range, you have it on 500, 600, you hear them way out there because it's still searching beyond. You won't have the video signature on the screen, but you hear them on the audio way the heck out there. So, I'll run it on 600 foot, 500 foot, and we're going around looking for these big schools. You can peg them out there at 1,000 feet because there's a lot of them. When there's less fish, there's little scattered areas. We usually bring it in, 500, 400, bring the tilt up. Everybody's tilt setting is different because of the depth of the dome, and how far the dome protrudes from the boat. So, if I say, look, I run mine at 11 degrees of tilt, that doesn't mean 11 degrees of tilt is the right angle for the XL or for, a commercial boat, whatever. We're all different in that respect. But I generally go by the rule of thumb, shallower is better. I go as shallow as I can where I'm not getting too much surface interference for whatever I'm fishing, and 98% of the time I'm right.
I've got a question in regards to sonar type thing that probably doesn't have an answer, and it's not fair of me to ask, but what would you take if you had to only have one of your confident, crew members on the Royal Star in a pair of gyro binoculars, or your sonar? Like, if you only had to have one of those two, is it a good guy with a good set of eyeballs and a good pair of binoculars, or is it your sonar? And I'm sure that's not a fair question to ask, but
that is a really, really tough call. But I have to say, I would go with the sonar because without that sonar, you might as well be driving over with blinders on.
Yeah.
I mean, we catch a lot of fish with that sonar. There's a lot of times when you catch fish on that thing that you're not going to see with your eyeballs. And I know this year, the last few years offshore, eyeball fishing, that's how we found
it. Yeah.
Just about. I think there was a couple of different sonar stops that we had, but man, the eyes have been accounting for 90% of what we've been catching out there.
That is a skill set that I'm so impressed by, fishing with yourself, fishing with Blake Wasano, like the small things. The obvious things are no doubt. When there's a big, giant school of whitewater and 100 turns on it, well, that's no question. But the small idiosyncrasies that guys like yourselves that spend all day on the water and see a breeze, or especially in a breezy condition, when you're picking out small things, it's the thing that impresses me more than anything else about finding fish at the level that you guys do out there.
That's, we live and die by it,
man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I actually get, going back to, I get energized by that.
I'm
the
sure.
The harder it is, the more engaged we are. We take a lot of pride in that, seeing those subtle breezes.
Super subtle things.
Blowing 10 or 15, 12, 15 knots. You just see that very, very light one out there a mile and a half. And it's from a competitive standpoint, there's nothing better than being out there in the water with 4 or 5 other boats, and you're driving along. You see one, and you watch the guy that's closer drive right by it.
The best feeling in the whole world.
We'll be up on the bridge, and he doesn't see it. I'll never.
It's not like he can hear you, but you almost want to be quiet. Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Don't look over there. And you keep driving the same course, or you might even turn a little off.
Yeah.
Because we're all looking at each other.
Of course.
Like, what does he see? You're standing on his bow.
That's great. It's a good feeling. And then when that comes to fruition, and you there's something in your gut that's telling you, man, there's something different about that. And then when you get there and it is, and you turn on it and you get a bait on, you get a bite. It's just, that is the best feeling.
It's especially good.
It's an earned one.
You catch fish.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. All right, phones are packed up. We're jumping back in. Rich and Bradley are up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning. I learned to tie the John Collins knot watching the Let's Talk Hookup video, and that's a great video, and I recommend it to anybody that has any questions about it. And my results have been really awesome. It holds. I'm really super confident in it. The knot is tiny, but I cannot cast it through my guides. And earlier in the show, Captain Tim was recommending a 10-foot piece of fluorocarbon to your Spectra, and that would put it right in the middle of my cast, so I just can't cast it. And I'm wondering, maybe between you and world champion caster Rock Cod Rick, what would you recommend for me?
It does snag up sometimes. God, it just drives you crazy. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't more often than it does. You trim that end off as close as you can get it, and you just I still get it snagged up.
Sure.
It causes a backlash every once in a while, but again, it doesn't more often than it does. Either underhand or overhand casting with a sardine, like nose hook, if you're really getting them out there, like that Guadalupe style that we've been, you want to make sure you put plenty of English on it, man. You whip that thing and it'll get it through. Or your underhand casting, you kind of give it a little help with your hand when you flip it out there. Again, the best thing I can say is it doesn't more than it does, but no matter what you do, it's going to snag and get you every once in a while.
That's an important thing for you to say, because I tie that knot every single day of my life, often. And sometimes it's just part of it. There's a couple things you can do, especially in the case of that John Collins knot, which is it's a knot where you wrap up with the Spectra and then you wrap back down over the top of stuff. You kind of take your time, and if when you're wrapping back down, if you perfectly cross your loop so that if you tie your knot the same way that you want it to look when it's finished, meaning that, all of your wraps have the same amount of slack in them and they're all crossed over the top, then when you cinch everything up, it's going to lay down flatter. And when it does that, it's going to hold the piece of mono down a little tighter. The other thing I would recommend doing is is if, and obviously this is all well and good when you're in the tackle shop, you're not in a hurry, and you're not trying to whip this out when there's a bunch of fish biting. But if you cut your tag in with a pair of shears, as opposed to like your favorite pair of dikes that you've had for 20 years, older pair of dikes going to cut the mono just fine, but it's going to kind of blow the edge of your tag in out a little bit. It smashes it before it cuts it, where a pair of shears actually cuts it and makes a smaller edge. So everything you can do to keep from having your little tag in sticking up will help getting it through the guides. The flatter that it lays, the better it'll come through the guide. So I would say, Tim said the most important part is that sometimes it's just going to happen, so don't feel like you're doing it wrong, but take your time wrapping your tag ends and take your time cutting the tag in with a pair of shears instead of a pair of dikes, and I'll bet it will help things along the line.
That's stuff that I do. I don't even think about it. That's just instinct. Yeah. But that's spot on. I know, like when I tighten the connection down, I pull it back with my fingers as I'm, I tighten it real slow and make sure that it cinches up to where it's none of the wraps lay over the top of each other, because it does that. Then it creates a ball.
Yep, you're not just herky-jerky letting them all lay where they might. You're placing them, so that when they all cinch up, every wrap is right on top of the other.
Right. And something else you see, so you're doing it at the tackle shop, not out when it's a hot bite. Hey, even when it's a hot bite,
slow down.
You just got to slow down. You know how many times I've done it? Hey, Skip, will you tie this knot for me? That's just crazy, gas waving. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And just
put yourself in that spot.
Yep. Just slow down the world, meticulously tie it, do it exactly right every time.
When it comes to knots, I got to say, I am so proud of our guys. John talked about the fish in the Bisbees, the multiple guys winning millions of dollars of fish. And Rich, again, appreciate the phone call very much, buddy. Two of the, I think the last 4 years, big time tournament winners have been tied by our guys, and and this was the case again this year. One of those teams, like they trust our shop. We've had multiple millions of dollars won on connections, and we treat that stuff like. Myself and Darren, in particular, the shop, we're in our own little zone and rigging area, and so meticulous about it. But there's something so cool about doing a connection for those big tournaments, knowing that there might be $1 million fish at the end of this thing.
On the line.
And for yet another year in a row, it happened. There was another multi-million-dollar fish that got caught with one of those knots, and it's a very cool feather in the cap to put down to know that when no matter what, failure isn't an option. It's a pretty cool thing to let that go down.
Hell yeah,
we're stoked. There's a lot of high fives in the shop afterwards, dude, got him again. It's pretty cool. Hey, phones are pill packed up. Let's try and sneak another one in there. How about we talk to Arnie, who's calling us from Vista. Good morning, Arnie. Welcome to the show. Oh, looks like we might have lost Arnie there. So how about Hills then in Ventura? Hi, Hills. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, Hills.
My question for Tim is, going way down south, and you got all your anglers, and they're all looking at you, and they have high expectations and dreams of their trophy fish. There's I don't want to put it on you, but kind of a lot of pressure. My question is, did you have, when you started going down there, did you have any mentors to show you where to set up and how to set up, or did you just have to go down there and just figure it out?
Well, there's been a lot of both in my life. When I first started in fishing, I probably have the most incredible, the pedigree, the mentors. Eddie McEwen, Dick Gadosh, Frank Lepresti, and Steve Loomis. So those are the four guys that
there's a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, exactly. That I came up. Great. That I came up under. So I had some very good mentoring in both the logistics of it, the what and why, the spots, the how to, but also from the mental side.
That's awesome.
That drive that those guys had as workers, as fishermen, as just
and how cool
hunters, out there pursuing whatever tuna, whatever's wahoo, whatever, albacore. Those guys they really instilled an awful lot of, or they at least helped develop,
start the mold,
develop that, And
it's so
I go
cool.
back to the conversation earlier, some people have that within them, but just seeing those guys and how they did it really motivated me. And then that's what sets you up. I can go somewhere where I've never been before, and I'm actually, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like it. I like the challenge, and we'll find them. I mean, we figured out Panama. You know,
right.
We figured that out on our own. And you know, again, going back to the beginning, going back to our roots, that we had the foundation. I had the foundation laid very early.
I dig it, man. That's cool. Great question. Great way to finish up. Hills, appreciate the phone call very much. When we come back, we're going to find out what Lucky Guy's got himself that Sato line winder kit. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way right here on the Hookup Radio Network.
If you're into saltwater fishing, listen to this. Saturday, November 2nd, it's Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Hi, this is Doug Kern. We are pulling out all the stops on this one with discounts from 20 to 80% on hundreds of items. Over 20 manufacturers' reps like Shimano, plenty of seminars by saltwater experts, a giant raffle, and most of all, incredible deals on tackle. Closeouts we've never offered before at Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing. Check out all the Shimano and Power Pro product we have and talk to the Shimano and Power Pro guys about the best Shimano rod and reel for your trip. Backed by popular demand, the Shimano Tranks Casting Contest. Cast a Shimano Tranks 500 and Terramar 90H rod and show your surface iron casting skills. The winner gets a Tranks 500 worth $500. It's our biggest sale of the year with hundreds of items discounted up to 80%. Plus, plenty of manufacturer's incentives from Shimano and Power Pro to spice up the pot. We will have a huge raffle and lots of fun for everyone. So don't miss it. Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing. Unbelievable pricing on tackle, clothing, and accessories. Saturday, November 2nd.
Fifth Avenue Insurance has a new name. It's Snap Insurance. Still providing anglers and boaters with the best in boat insurance and the lowest rates. The experts at Snap Insurance will make sure your boat and property are covered right. Traveling to Mexico? Snap has you covered. You can even work with your agent to wrap your home and auto with your boat policy to save even more. Call them for advice on your current boat policy or any of your insurance needs. Snap Insurance, 800-527-6617 or snapins.com. That's SNAPPINS.com.
This is Captain Mark Rayer for Genren Sport Fishing. Located on the Sea of Cortez, we will show you a fishing experience that will exceed your expectations. Genren boats are outfitted with all accurate reels from the smallest Valiant 300 to the beefy ATDs. Simrad electronics, Fraser gyro binoculars, and crews with a passion to fish is just part of what makes us number one. Also, Cabo Yachts Vaquera has a Seakeeper for your comfort. For 2 live webcams, an up-to-date fish report, accommodation packages, check out TeamGenren.com. We pick up at Rancho Leonero and all East Cape locations. So let's go fishing.
It's Yamaha's Why Wait for Spring Fall Sales Event from October 1st to November 26th. Take advantage of special offers on eligible new 2.5 to 300 horsepower 4-strokes and be ready to hit the water in spring. For details, visit YamahaOutboards.com or your local Yamaha Outboards dealer today. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. For limited time only. Offer ends November 26, 2019. Subject to change. Other restrictions and conditions apply. Select models excluded. See authorized participating Yamaha Outboard dealers for details. Cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
All right, the big winner of the Sato line winder kit, that is going to Mo in Vista. Mo, congratulations. You are going to love that gear from Sato. Nothing but the best. Tim, 2 hours. This is the fastest that it can ever go by, man. Had such a great time with you in the studio, BSing, fishing, talking. It's my favorite thing to do and my favorite person to do it with, so really appreciate you hanging with us for a couple hours talking fishing.
We were just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
My gosh, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks to everybody, all listeners. Thanks, Royal Star Riders. Appreciate it. Look at our schedule. We have some openings, like I said, those 7 days. We've got openings on a 12-day going down the coast in January. RoyalStarSportFishing.com, 619-224-4764. Sorry I'm missing Tackle Days next weekend.
You appreciate it, buddy. Hey, next week we're live at Tackle Days at Fisherman's Landing. We'll look forward to seeing them 7 to 9 right here on 97.3 The Fan.